Hey, this is Jason Mott. If you want your baseball news, listen to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer with JJ and Vince.
Hey, welcome to episode number 3822, or
I think
maybe.
I think I have it at 119. I think it is 119. I think.
Oh, I got it at 3822.
Okay,
So,
I,
but
I'm referring to you. You're probably closer than I am.
I'm not a math person, so who knows? Anyway, welcome to I guess our second week of spring training, kind of the first week for Cardinal fans, but the second week for Cub fans. Um, let's get the housekeeping out of the way. If you are watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to this YouTube channel so that you can have our information as soon as it drops. And if you have a friend, and some of you do actually have friends, if you have a friend that's a baseball fan, share them our YouTube channel. Say, hey man, these two guys are pretty good, because we know we're pretty good because we can go back and we can look at our first episodes and we
Oh,
suck.
yeah.
So maybe in the grand scope of things, we're not pretty good, but in our little world compared to what we were 2.5 years ago, we're now pretty good. So
In 10 years, this is going to
yeah.
be something to see. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah. Also, then you can like us on Facebook.
Oh,
And when
yeah.
you like us on Facebook, we like you back.
Yeah.
And then we
Makes you
got
feel
this
good.
this liking thing going on that's really awesome. If you want to contact us, you can just leave us a DM. You can just leave a comment on one of our social media or one of our YouTube channels, or you can email us the old-fashioned way. Remember in the days when email was brand new, and now it's like, yeah, email is kind of like the afterthought. But if you still use email, because a lot of people are my age and we still use email, you just go to one card, one cup, one beer at gmail.com and leave us an email, and those are treasured. If you want to support our efforts through Patreon, just go to patreon.com and search for One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer, and you can support our efforts, and that is greatly appreciated. If you would like to be a guest on the show, just contact us through one of our avenues and say, hey, I've got an interesting baseball related topic and expertise or something like that. I'd like to be on the show, and we would certainly welcome you on the show. JJ, how are you doing?
Pretty good, Vince. Pretty good. Spring's coming. I think the first sign of spring training is our spring is spring training. You start hearing the cracking of bats and the smacking of gloves and the balls, and you see the palm trees, and then the games start. But here in Missouri, it's still wintertime, and we're getting hit pretty hard. Here in Potosi, it's been snowing for about 2 hours. We got some this morning, like we talked about before, but I don't even know how much is out there right now. And my job, I don't have to be there until 10 in the morning tomorrow morning. So if we even have it. So lo and behold. So I hope everybody out there is in their houses and nice and warm and cozy, because here in the middle part of the country, we're getting hit pretty good with a snowstorm.
And this comes at the most inopportune time because I had on my calendar tomorrow to run outside naked. I just don't think it's going to be a good day for it.
Man, you're like the polar bear club. Yeah.
So, oh no, I don't know. How do they do that, man?
I don't
It's
know, Vince. I don't
20
think I could
degrees
do it.
outside. They run and they jump in a frozen body of water and they're hugging ice that's floating. Yeah.
I got in a cold pool one time in Vegas. This pool was extremely cold. It took me to get completely under the water. It took me a good 20 minutes of slowing all the way into the pool until I finally went down in there. And then, of course, I got used to it then.
Now, do you remember the ice bucket challenge?
I remember seeing that. I didn't take part of it, but I watched it.
Okay, I did it, and you know, I heard, yeah, you really know, because it was to um, raise awareness for ALS, and it kind of gives you the shock of what it's like to really not have control of your body. And I thought, yeah, okay, I'd seen a lot of people do it, so I did it, and by golly, it was like, oh, this was stupid. Who invented this?
Yeah, I don't know who came up with that. I
Yeah,
did take part in Hands Across America, if you remember that one. Hands Across America.
I do remember it,
I
but
don't
I
even
did
know
not
what we
take
were
part.
doing it for. I don't recall, but I wanted to do a couple experiments. One, tell a joke on the East Coast, and by the time I got to the West Coast, see what kind of mutated. And the second one was the the guy in California stick a fork in a toaster and see how many people get shocked. See how far it could go. Those were my two things I was really wanting to do with that, but nobody seemed to want to play along.
What was that? Jordan Peele movie that was set during the Hands Across America.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Uh, I know it's been mentioned in like the Goldbergs show and a few other things. They mention it from time to time. It's kind of like a landmark in American history.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Can't remember
would have
what
been
the
the
name of
'80s. So
the
I don't
show
know
was.
what. Yeah, I don't know what that was.
No, it was a movie that was out like 4 or 5 years ago, but it was
Okay.
set during that Hands Across America. It was like when they had the doppelgangers. There were.
Oh,
It's a great movie, but I remember Jordan Peele made the movie.
oh, yeah.
Um, but
Well,
anyway,
yeah.
we can be here all night and we can rack our brains and we're not going to think of it because we're old and senile.
I don't
It's
think I
just
saw it, Vince. To be honest, I don't think I've seen that movie.
you probably saw it, you just don't forget it because you
I
forgot
don't
it
remember.
because
I'm old and senile.
yes. Oh, JJ, what have you been up to this week?
You know, besides baseball, we have a lot of similar interests. And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which I've never been, I'm as scheduled, I'm going this year. I know you've been, but one of the highlights for me is the inductions. They in Cleveland or wherever they do. I know the Hall of Fame's in Cleveland, but sometimes they do it in other cities. They have uh, the nominee, the person who's going in. They have someone of that we usually know or a family member or something induct them, and then there's a film about them. Then they come out and thank everyone, and then they play if they are able to. They play, or other musicians will play some of their songs. And I'm excited. Have you seen the list for the nominees for this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Yeah, but I don't remember
Well, can I read them off? And
because I'm old and
I'm,
senile. Yeah, go
they're
ahead.
all worthy, but some maybe more than others, and maybe a recollection about the band because I thought this might be good. The first one, these are in alphabetical order. Bad Company, huh? Yeah, I'm a
And I
big
can't
bad.
deny it.
Yeah, they were on that
Paul
Led Zeppelin.
Rogers. Wow.
Oh my God, one of the best voices. Uh, okay, the Black Crows. The Black Crows. I don't.
Make your
I mean,
money maker.
yeah. Oh, that's a great album. Talks to
Yeah.
Angels. You got to had your first record come out 25 years ago to be eligible. So Bad Company, Black Crows. Now, here lately they put in Dolly Parton and Madonna, and maybe, and I'm cool with that because rock and roll is really a slice of all different styles of music. It's more of an attitude, and that. So Mariah Carey is nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Great singer, and I do like a lot of her songs. And probably the most popular Christmas song of late is a Mariah Carey song. Are you tired of it? Vince is tired of it. Look at that look.
I would rather hear the Bananarama song now. That's how much I'm sick of Mariah Carey's.
Bananarama has a Christmas song.
But yeah,
Oh, I don't think I know that one.
oh, you know it because it's
My
been.
best friend was a huge Bananarama fan. I think it was partly because they were beautiful girls, but he was a big Bananarama fan.
One of them was married to Andrew Ridgeley of Wham.
Oh, I thought it was Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics. I thought one of them was married to Dave Stewart. I thought,
Could be,
yeah,
but I know
maybe.
that one of them was married to Andrew Ridgeley. So for a long time before they finally broke up.
Oh man, I didn't. I'm sad I didn't even know they were together.
Bananarama. Let me see. Christmas song.
Oh, they sung on that English one. Do they know it's Christmas? They were in that uh, group of people that sang that. Do they know it's Christmas?
Oh, maybe it's not. Oh, it's the waitresses I'm thinking about.
Oh, the wage. Okay, I still didn't know they had a Christmas song. I just know that one song. I know what boys like. That's the only thing about the waitresses I know.
It's called Christmas wrapping.
Christmas rapping. All right. Well, all right. We'll pay attention to
You've
that.
heard it, you just
Uh,
don't know the name of
maybe
the
not.
title of the song. So the
All
waitress.
right. So Mariah Carey, you think? What do you think about her? Great singer, but yeah,
I have no problem with her,
yeah.
except for the Christmas song that is driven down my throat every Christmas. But
Well, they tell you what three songs to sing. Evidently the Hall of Fame does, and they may pick the Christmas song, and that'll be a great concert at the end of the night. There's usually 7 inductees, and they all come out and do their music. It's pretty cool. All right, Chubby Checker. And Vince, I don't think Checker had 2 hits. I wasn't big on Chubby Checker. What do you think about Chubby Checker?
it's Blueberry Hill
That's
and
Fats Domino.
oh well, oh yeah, Chevy Checker, the twist.
He had, and then the twist and let's twist again. He had 2 songs about the twist. Come on, the
Come on,
Archies.
man, we don't need him.
No, the Archies should go in before Chubby Checker. Come on, man. Joe Cocker. I love Joe Cocker, but most of his songs, like Linda Ronstadt, is a lot of remakes. The Letter by the Box Tops. He's got 2 Beatles songs he does. Great singer though. Up Where We Belong, Officer and Gentleman. Great song. That's some good stuff.
He put out an album in like '89 or '90 called "The Night of Sin" that I think was his best.
Really good stuff, huh?
When the Night Comes is on that.
Oh, great
It's just
song.
it's just great
Yeah.
from front to back. But this is my deal. If you're gonna put in Linda Ronstadt and if you're gonna put in Joe Cocker, you have to put in Three Dog Night because it's always, well, Three Dog Night didn't write their own stuff.
Oh,
Well, a lot of people didn't write their own stuff in
yeah.
the 60s and 70s. I
Yeah.
mean, but Three Dog Night would take everybody from Leo Sayer to Hoyt Axton to whomever, take their songs, make them their own, and make them classics. I don't know why Three Dog Night isn't in there.
Joy to the World. One of the maybe one of my 100 favorite songs of all time. Joy to the World.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that was when Hoyt Axton wrote it. It was a country song. Yeah, I mean, that's what he
Oh,
envisioned because it's a
really?
country artist. And
I did not know. Of course, now if you get Joe Cocker and Linda in there, there might be a push to get Michael Bolton in there. There's an old joke about Michael Bolton's going to donate a Xerox machine to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he just took every people's other songs and stuff. But he's got a few originals. I'm sorry, Michael Bolton. If you're watching, I apologize to you.
Greg Allman put out an album in the mid '80s called "I'm No Angel." It's a
Yeah.
really good album. Um, and there's a track on there that is a duet with him and Michael Bolton. So,
Really?
anybody knew who Michael Bolton was? Yeah.
How about that? Man, I did not know that. All right. Now, this is in our wheelhouse when we were kind of growing up. Billy Idol. Love me some Billy Idol, baby.
Yeah.
Rebel Yell. Oh, White Wedding. Him and Steve
Eyes
Stevens.
Without a Face.
Oh, yeah. Dancing with Myself. Oh, that's some good stuff, man.
Now,
Uh,
Dance with Myself, that's a dirty song.
oh, hey. I
I,
was
I
always the guy. Remember, the girls would come over and say, "You want to dance?" I was the guy that I danced by myself. I had to stand there. Nobody.
I can't dance. I I got 4 daughters. One of them has got married, and I have survived one dance at a wedding with my daughter, and I have 3 more to come. And I'm like, I don't, I don't like, I don't dance, and I'm very stiff. And
Oh,
people at a wedding, they're all watching you,
yeah.
so I don't. I got anxiety about it.
Just do what they do in the video. If it's a Janet Jackson song, get you 30 of your best friends and do something in unison, Rhythm Nation. All right,
Uh,
let me get back to this. Joy. Now, Vince, I know nothing about this group, Joy Division. I hear a lot of other artists talk about how they were an influence, but I don't know anything about Joy Division.
Transmission.
I don't think so. I don't think I know that one.
Uh,
Are they really good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I told you this once. I had a friend in high school, and I don't know how he got into this, but he was kind of a strange guy. But he introduced me to all kinds of punk from both sides of the Atlantic. And Joy Division, he would lend me albums and I would listen to it. Joy Division was great. Um, I Love Will Tear Us Apart, Transmission. Transmission's a great song, but their lead singer committed suicide just a few years.
Oh,
And yeah, but yeah, Joy Division, if you listen to a lot of punk music, you can trace that back to a lot of the influence of Joy Division.
well, that's one of the things you get you can make it on is your influence. And evidently Joy Division was very influential because I've heard many bands say mention them when they talk about things. So all right, Joy Division. There's one for you, Cyndi Lauper. Cindy's been around a long time. That first album was great. Money Changes Everything. I kind of like Cyndi Lauper. She's been around a
Yeah,
long
yeah,
time.
yeah, put her in there.
Although she has a duet with Billy Joel. Oh, it's not very good, Vince. Kind of scary. So stay away from that one.
Okay.
Um, here's one okay. Someone I never even heard this name. I heard a Joy Division, but this group are individuals. MANA. I don't know if that's rap. I don't know what kind of music that is, but it's MANA. It might be Mana. I don't know.
Hmm. Not
Never.
heard of them.
I ain't heard of them. Now, here's one of my favorites, Vince. I love Oasis, and Oasis is going to be nominated, and just them showing up, I'll watch the show just for that. Now, two brothers, they don't like each other. You never know if they're going to make it through the set, but rock and roll has a lot of brother combinations that just don't get along. The Kinks, the Everly Brothers, the Black Crows. We could have a tag team match with the Black Crows and Oasis going at it or something there. But I do love Oasis and a lot of their songs. Outcast.
I like Outkast.
I do too. They
I
got
like Speakerbox. Really good.
very good. They're a good band. All right, here's one for you. Fish.
Ah, not
No,
into Finch.
don't know a
No.
single song they do, but I respect them for being on the road all the time. They sort of took up the mantle of the Grateful Dead. Just they've already played the Sphere and sold it out. So good for them. Soundgarden, 90s rock right there.
That's great. That
Yes, that is. I agree.
I contend that the best rock and roll voice is not Robert Plant, it's Chris Cornell.
Ooh, that's
He
good. He's in the
to go
top. He's in the top up there. I put him way up there. I don't
no
know.
to go from as low as he can to those screaming notes, it just
Yeah,
wonderful.
very good. Um, all right. I have. Is there one more on there? Oh, and the White Stripes. White
Oh, love
Stripes.
the White Stripes.
Yeah, very good.
I wonder if
That
Meg's going to
song.
show up because she's been kind of a recluse.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't seen much of her at all. But they now you can't watch a sporting event like the football playoffs and the Super Bowl where they play that Seven Nation Army thing. Don't. That's become a part of the culture now. Who would have known that? People may not even know that's a White Stripe song when they hear that now. But anyway,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. That's going to be a good group. I wouldn't even know who would introduce these people. Oasis. Maybe I don't know. They're big Beatle fans. Maybe they can get Ringo to show up because they burnt their bridges with most people. I know Bono's a big friend. He's a friend of them guys. But anyway, that'd be fun. So anyway, just get some few thoughts. I love music, and when they go, it's just to uh, show these groups respect and all the work they've done, and I don't know, they've been a big part of my life anyway.
yeah. I like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I know it gets maligned a lot, and there are some groups that I'm thinking, why aren't they in there? Like Soundgarden went so long. Why isn't Three Dog Night in there? Donnie and Marie. I mean, okay,
I,
well,
I The Osmonds, yeah, no, but no. Here's some
Uh,
trivia. Can you name the only person that's in there 3 times? There's somebody that's in the Hall of Fame 3 times.
hmm. Well, it's got to be someone who had was with a group, probably two groups, then a solo career. I'll say Eric Clapton.
I can't get nothing past you, Vince. Eric Clapton, very good, man. Woo.
Cream uh, as a solo artist and Blind Faith.
Traffic, maybe,
Traffic, yeah, yeah.
maybe, or he was with the "Give Me All Your Lovin'." That first band he was in, played the keyboards and sang. I can't. I'm old and senile. I can't remember the original band. It'll come to me somewhere in the middle of the show, and I'll just blurt it out.
Oh, with the Canned Heat.
No, it wasn't Canned Heat. It was
He was with a lot of
a
bands.
lot of Derek and the Dominoes. He was with.
Eh,
They did one
so,
album, and it was a great album.
so awesome. Oh, well, I guess we do have to talk about baseball.
Oh yeah, Vince, it's happening. It's happening.
Do you know that in 2 days the Cubs will play the first spring training game against the Dodgers?
The Evil Empire. Yeah.
Sorry,
Go
not
Cubs.
so yeah. Um, I'm really excited. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it on Thursday, but just extremely excited about it. And how's have I guess everyone's showed up for Cardinal camp now. It's not just pitchers and catchers, or
And they've had their first workout. And when I see the or the pieces on the sports, it's so nice to see the green grass and the blue skies, and people are wearing like maybe a long t-shirt underneath their jerseys. And I saw some. I'll even watch Sonny Gray getting, just throwing, and everybody lined up behind him, and and there's all kinds of new little things, and all the catchers. We got about 5 catchers up there working with all these starters and relievers. So yeah, everybody's there, and so far everybody's healthy. It sounds like so. Fingers crossed.
very good. All right, just to get into the transactions and signings that actually mean something. Uh, Nick Pivetta signs for 4 years with the Padres, so that's a cheaper option that they have. I guess Dylan Cease is still on the trading block. I don't know. And like I first heard from you. Now I've heard from a few other sources. Um, they have that issue because the owner died, and now the kids are squabbling and everything, and that's why I'm not rich. So when I die, my kids, they're gonna say, "Who wants this plaque of Superman? Who wants this Pez baseball metal sign?" Stuff like that.
The
Who
greatest
wants
grandpa mug.
yeah, who wants this stuff? And my kids are gonna say, nobody. Should we auction it off? No, nobody's gonna want this stuff. Just burn it down. So oh. Uh Cal Quantrell signs for 1 year with Miami. So that's good.
Yeah.
Former Cardinal John Brevia signs for 1 year with Detroit. And I don't think that's a bad signing. First of all, Detroit is such a good pitcher's park.
Yeah.
Yeah, they make a lot of pitchers look really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, Tarek Skubal's great, and Justin Verlander was great. They've had great pitchers, but yeah, kind of easy to keep the ball in the ballpark there. What are you smiling at?
I just got something I was going to talk about. I'm going over my notes, and sometimes I crack myself up, Vince.
Do you want to share with the rest of the class?
Well,
What's so funny, JJ?
I've got so many little things to go over, but one thing, I love statistics, the history of the game. Really, we don't have reporters out there where we can talk about the future. So we kind of embrace the past and things we see and, bring attention to players that we loved and just things like that. But Vince, this may be the worst contract I've ever heard. I don't know if you heard this week, but Anthony Rendon is out for the season with a hip injury. Now, I don't wish that on anybody. He did want a shorter season. He somehow has figured out a way to do this. And I have learned through reading several articles that the owner of the Angels did not have insurance on his players because it costs so much. And I guess he just thought, they'll be fine. And now he's eating all of that contract. I always thought that they did take insurance out on the players just in case something happened, but apparently not. Vince, here are some of the stats I have found. He signed in 2020. Anthony Rendon signed and he was coming off a big year with the Nationals. He signed a 7-year, $245 million contract with the Angels and has, since 2020, has played only 257 games in those 5 years, has hit 22 home runs in 5 years, 125 RBIs, and has hit 242. Before he joined the Angels, he was a 290 lifetime hitter with the Nationals. And here's the interesting stat that caught my attention. Since 2020, the Nationals, who lost Anthony Rendon, have used 19 third basemen. And that's quite a bit. So they really haven't had anybody settle in and take over that position full time in those 5 years. But the Angels have used 28 third basemen in the last 5 years. And they did all this for a cool $245 million. I've thought of some contracts and some trades the Cardinals have made, and nobody, believe me, not even the Dodgers are 100%. But I can't think of a contract that you got less for that much money. I don't know. What do you think about that, Vince?
I saw a meme that was the Anthony Rendon bobblehead night, and it has him sitting in a wheelchair.
Oh! Is this a real thing? Is it? That's a real thing?
No, it's just a meme. So
pretend. Okay. All right. Oh man! But good night.
See,
and wouldn't he know that hip was hurt last year, like at the end of the year?
That's what I'm wondering. It's a hip impingement. Okay, I don't know when he got it. Maybe he got it opening Christmas presents. But if you're an athlete, the moment you have something like that, you go through the proper channels to get it taken care of. But we know he doesn't like playing that much because he said it's like number 4 priority in my life. Okay, so he doesn't like to play. So it's just kind of in character with him to wait until spring training to say, I got a hip impingement. I can't play this year. I understand people get hurt. And if he's been hurt as much as he is, you can't help that. It's his attitude about it. Saying that this is number 4 priority in my life, when you're making $250 million and you have a fan base who is banking on you to help lead you to better times, and you're out and you don't seem to care. When you go on a podcast and they say, what would you change about the season? It's too long. It's not too long for you because you only play 20 games a year, dude.
Yeah, my gosh, I can't. It's just a crazy story. And he's only got, I think, this year and next year on that contract. I don't think anybody's going to take a chance with him, or not for minor league deal or something.
I think he's just going to retire.
Yeah, I mean,
money. And there's that clip. I think they were in Oakland last year, and the Angels are leaving the field, and a fan is yakking at him, and he grabs the fan, and then he slaps at him. Thinking, you know what? When you're a fan and you're making a minute fraction of what you're making, and if someone was heckling me, like, hey, you're making $250 million and you're hurt all the time, I would tell him, I'm as perplexed as you are. I wish I could be healthy. I would not reach out and grab the guy and then swat at him. I really wouldn't. I think I would have enough self-awareness to know I signed this huge contract and I'm letting people down because I'm injured. And it's terrible. But
I've seen injured people. For one instance, I seen Lars Newbar, and he had a show elbow issue or something. He had his arm in a sling. When we were up in Milwaukee, it was his left arm. He's a right-hander. He was going around signing autographs and taking pictures with the fans, still making himself useful and, spreading goodwill and all that. So, that's what I would do if I was a player. I mean, God, I wish I was a player, but man, just get out there, be a part of the team, Uh, but I don't know. Some people, they're just different. I don't understand.
mm. Michael A. Taylor signed for 1 year with the White Sox. Great athlete, great defensive outfielder. His offensive skills, which were never great, has diminished. I think he hit less than 200 with Kansas City last year. But with the White Sox, he could potentially be the cleanup hitter. Who knows? Or this guy could be the cleanup hitter. Joey Gallo signed a minor league contract with the White Sox. So come
He
one,
had
come
so much
all.
promise. I thought that kid, there was talk the Cardinals were going to make a big trade for him. And I seen him in Texas and he was hitting stuff in the upper. He'd get ahead of it, knock a foul ball, but it was right down the line. It was up in the third tier of seats. I thought, man, this guy, he looked like I think he won a gold glove at one time even. I
Yeah,
thought,
yeah, he
this
good
guy could
fielder.
be special, but I don't know what's happened. But I wish him all the luck because I like him.
Yeah. Jake Junis is signed with Cleveland for 1 year to boost their staff. Cole Reagan signs a 3 year extension with Kansas City, so buying out a couple years of his arbitration, which is good for both parties to not have to go through that. And I like what the Royals are doing. They've already invested in Bobby Witt. Looks like they're investing in Cole Reagans. Pay your superstars,
Yeah.
and then fill in areas that you need filled in because you're in the American League Central. No one's going to run away with that. So um, I'm happy to see that as someone who kind of roots for the Royals.
Me too.
Kendall Graveman signs 1 year with the Snakes. Very good. Ty France, 1 year with the Twins. And I do have in my notes Anthony Rendon, 60 IL hip impingement. So, um, and the big news for the Cubs was that we were apparently in on the Alex Bregman sweepstakes, and we offered him 4 years, 120 million. That's 30 million in my mind. That's an overpay for the guy. He's on the wrong side of 30, and he's still a great player, but I don't think see him as someone I want to invest 120 million in. But the Red Sox did, and the reason they got him is because they paid him 120 million for 3 years instead of four. So he's making 40 million a season, 3 years with Boston. And what happens when he gets to camp? Rafael Devers says, "Hey, third base is my job. I ain't moving." So
It looks like they would have talked to Devers and
yeah,
okayed it. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of. Vince, my next category is people changing positions, and that's one of the things I was going to talk about was with him going on. And sometimes you were talking about the Cubs, you didn't want to overpay for them. There are fans, they like the big names. They like the name, the ones that that have been stars and up there, and they gravitated that, and that does get some of the fan base excited. But I'm with you, Vince. Sometimes guys kind of past his prime. I mean, he is a veteran, but money could be spent well somewhere else. I knew the Cubs were one of the finalists for that, but sometimes the best moves are the ones you didn't get to make. I know David Price, the Cardinals were going to pay crazy, and thank God Boston came in at the last minute and overpaid him. And of course, Angels with Pujols, and now looking back, you're like, woo, we escaped those. But one of the guys moving positions, and this has happened to a lot of superstars, and usually it's positive. Robin Yount would play anywhere they asked him to. Craig Biggio, Albert Pujols played 3 different positions, and he pitched a game. He came in relief one time. Ernie Banks Mr. Shortstop, moved over to first. Stan Musial, Mookie Betts. I tell you what, Mookie Betts will do anything for the team, and I really respect him for that. And them are just some of the names. But this week, it was announced that Mike Trout is going to move to right field. And Vince, how do you feel about that? Mike going to right field?
Honestly, I would have. I think it's a good move because he's getting injured a lot, but I would have possibly said first base or DH. Your bat is way too important.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
big part of that
and
team.
I'm sure he's not going to be stealing many bases anymore. You get to an age where your body's breaking down, and his is just breaking down all the time, and you've got to do things to preserve your body. And I know he's a great defensive center fielder, and he's a great outfielder, and he's got a great arm, but his bread and butter is as an offensive player. And people say, well, he hasn't played much in the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years, but
Yeah,
when he has played last year, what did he play like 20 games and had like 8, 9 home runs? I mean,
he came out
he
fast.
yeah, his bat is still there. And I would just say, hey, first base or DH, we need your bat. It's way too important.
I think
And
he's still going to DH some too. I think right field and DH, so they'll move him back and forth. Although I looked at the roster and they don't really have what you would call maybe Joe Adele, but Adele's not been hitting much. Maybe he could play center, but I don't know who they're going to put out in center. But maybe they got a minor leaguer we don't know about who's going to come up and dazzle us out there. But yeah, I think that's a good move. Also, like with Devers, uh, the Yankees pitching staff looks great. They got 7 really good starters, and Marcus Stroman said, "Oh, I'm a starter," because we got like Steven Matz, who really he's been hurt a lot, and he'll go to the bullpen work. And I was like, "Oh no, what are they going to do?" Because when you look at their starting rotation of the Yankees, and people get hurt, it's always good to have a bunch of starters. Look at the Dodgers last year, but they have Garrett Cole, they have Max Fried, Louis Gile, Carlos Rondon, Clark Schmidt, Marcus Stroman, and I know there's another guy too. So I don't. If he doesn't make that rotation, I don't know. It may get hairy. Vince, this is my dream. This is a little dream I have, and I have heard somebody else say this, but I thought of this before I heard it on the radio. I think because we're trying to get rid of Arenado, the Yankees need a third baseman. We could move Arenado and even throw a sweet deal, throw in there Steven Matz too, because he is a lefty, and he'll go to the bullpen for Marcus Stroman, and just take the contracts, and then by the All-Star game, hopefully Marcus is killing it, and we move Marcus Stroman for some, maybe some minor leaguers or something.
that,
That's
that's
my
not a, that's not a bad strategy. It's kind of awkward with Arenado being in camp now, and the Yankees really don't need Marcus Stroman. Um,
yeah.
he had half a decent year with them, and before that, he was pitching for the Cubs, and
There was a half
um,
year he was like
he had a half,
all-star.
yeah, he had
Woo!
a half year where he was an all-star, and then he fell off the table. And there's things about Marcus Stroman I really like, and there's things that I don't really like.
Yeah.
But when you're coming into camp and you've got to know the way you've pitched over the last few years that you're probably heading for the bullpen on this team, but to come out and say, yeah, I'm a starter. What are you talking about? I'm a starter. Well, you wasn't a starter down the stretch and you wasn't a starter in the playoffs. You're you know,
Sometimes when you get a player like that, they got a chip on their shoulder. I'm going to
yeah,
show them. And, hey, all right. I tell you what, I love walking Andujar, but same kind of thing. When Andujar was going great, the team was winning, it was magic. When things weren't going good, oh no, bet down the hatches because it could get kind of wild. A couple other guys changing positions, uh, and in a good way. Jose Altuve's been working out in left field. I think they've got somebody else coming up who can play second base, and they want Altuve's bat in there. And of course, he's like a legend for the Astros organization. You got to put that guy in there somewhere that kept him this long. And I don't know, that might be fun. and Contreras was going to first base, and he showed up to camp buffed up. He is ready. He's ready to put up some big numbers as far as power numbers, and I can't wait. Let's see what happens. So, anyway, that's my little thing on changing positions and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think with Contreras, if you know you're not going to be catching anymore, and you're going to be a first baseman, um, why not bulk up? Because catching, you need a lot of flexibility. You need to have those quick reflexes, and you don't want to lift too many weights and get muscle down. And when you're playing first, yeah, try. I think with a little bit of extra weight, he could probably hit 25 to 30 home runs.
I like the sound of that. Woohoo!
So, yeah. Yeah. One more thing I was going to say about Bregman, much better fit in Fenway than Wrigley because he's been playing in a ballpark with that short left field
That's right.
Crawford boxes, and now he's just going to the Green Monster. So, much better fit for him. Former Cardinal Paul DeYoung signed for 1 year with Washington, and
Paul.
Paul had a not a great offensive season, but he still hit 24 home runs with the
Pretty
White
good for
Sox.
shortstop. Yeah.
Yeah, White Sox and the Royals split the season there, so very good. And I do want to bring this up. I did some research, and usually MLB.TV is you can pay an annual fee, but I'm not seeing anywhere where it's an annual fee. All I'm seeing is monthly, which is $29 a month.
Ooh, that's good.
And then um, for people like me who want to watch some Cardinal games but don't want to change my TV setup, you can get Cardinal games. You can get the FanDuel app for $19 a month, and that will interface with Amazon Prime. So that's how I'm going to watch the Cardinal games this year because on MLB.TV they're blacked out. So that's how I'm going to do my baseball this year. Just get the MLB.
Thank you. What's the name of that? How are you doing it? What's the name of that thing again? Because I may do it that as well.
FanDuel.
FanDuel. Okay.
FanDuel, and it interfaces with Amazon Prime, which is what I've already got. So it'll be $19 a month. And then if you want the MLB.TV, that's $29 a month.
Very nice. Very nice. I think I'm going to try that too, Vince. But with the MLB, you do get all the shows, don't you? From the MLB channel, you get like High Heat and all that. Does that come on there too?
There are different packages. You'd have to look at it.
Okay.
I've only used it to watch games. I don't watch clips. I don't watch shows or anything like that. So I'm not sure what else you can watch on it. I know it's different than the MLB channel. But I know that the MLB channel, some of their stuff they will put in like different things you can watch, but it's not the full thing. So just going to soothe my baseball cravings this year for
I'm so ready, Vince. I'm psyched out for it. I want to watch, like you said, I want to watch every team. I'd like to see every team and get to see the players. I like to see them in their new uniforms, the big phenoms that are coming up from the minors. Some of my favorites. I want to see Clint Kershaw pitch, even though he's with the Evil Empire. That'll be fun. Well, Vince, I don't know if you know this, but last week we talked about Pete Rose and the Bob Uecker patches on the Reds and the Brewers uniforms. Well, this week I was going to call them Oakland A's. It'll take me a long time to get that out of my system. The Sacramento A's have announced that they're going to have a number 24 with a circle on it, like a baseball, for Ricky Henderson. And that's pretty cool. And I was looking I said, I want to buy that. I want to buy that patch. And I found a place where you can buy the patches. And Vince, you can get almost any kind of patch. And they're not, as a collector, they're not super expensive. And the one I saw, he's leading off in his famous Oakland A uniform where he's leading off, and you'll see 24 in the background. That's pretty cool. So I may buy me one of those patches. And on the other side, Sacramento is going to do something for the A's new uh, home, and it's basically a square patch, like a rectangle, with the word Sacramento and the A's colors, and then like a bridge, the beginning of a bridge. And I think that's pretty cool. I like that one too. So, I see some of these patches that came out in the 20s and the 30s, and who would have known to hang on to those patches? Because I'll go to shows and see those, and I was like, man, that's pretty darn cool. So, anyway, here in the next coming weeks, I'll probably have some patches to show you, but I'm going to get some Ricky Anderson stuff for sure.
Very cool. The only other thing that I want to bring up is that Anthony Rizzo is still out there. Um, no one has signed him. He's from Florida, and there's speculation that Miami would sign him or Tampa would sign him, but that hasn't happened yet. He had a terrible year last year, hitting the low 200s, and I think he only hit like 9, 10 home runs, something like that with the Yankees, and that's in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
So it's clear that he's not an everyday player anymore. But I don't want to. I'd like to see him go another round with some team as a pinch hitter, DH, first baseman every now and then. Get him, being 3, 4 games a week, and you know, just kind of have him go out with a little more class than, oh, I sucked as a Yankee. We lost the World Series and I didn't play anymore. But oh well.
I like him too. And I tell you what, you guys had some great commercials in Chicago right before, like a couple years maybe before you won the World Series, where it was Chris Bryant and Rizzo. And it was like they were roommates and all the things they did. And they were sort of like the odd couple in these commercials. And you just, they were real personable. And Rizzo's one of those guys. I'm pulling for him. And if I played ball, they'd have to take the uniform off me. I'd try to, in any kind of capacity, stick around another year or two. So good for him, and I wish him all the luck. And I'd like to see him play some more. I know he's got a lot of knowledge to pass on. Kevin Kiermaier, who I always thought was one of the best center fielders I've seen, was a kind of a light hitting guy, but his fielding was extraordinary. Played with the Dodgers last year and won a ring finally. I saw him make a play. He threw a BB home and caught Bryce Terang, who's one of the fastest guys in the league, threw him out of home from mid center field. And I was like, goodness gracious, that was just an incredible throw. And he got a standing ovation for throwing out a Brewer player in Milwaukee. As like, that was fantastic. I would have sent Terang every single time too. And
Yeah.
he just threw him out.
Well, that is either extreme respect from the fans or a lot of booze in Milwaukee.
Well, a little bit of both right there. But Kiermaier is now working. Golly, I don't have it written down, but he got a like a roving instructor job with a team, and he's very excited about it. So he can still spend time with his family. It's not like a baseball season where you're gone for 8 months. And he can come and go, and wherever they need him to be and work with the young players, he'll do that. So, man, I'm glad guys like that stay in baseball. It just makes the game better. So
Yeah,
Rizzo and Kiermaier. Vince, there's been a few injuries already. We're just starting spring training, and there's already been some issues. Giancarlo Stanton, who has a long history of injuries, has tinnitus in both elbows. God love him. And he is day to day right now, but I've seen him be day to day for months and months. So I hope he recovers. Mark, our friend up in New York, posted this, but Frankie Montas has a lat strain and will be shut down for 6 to 8 weeks. Oh, already starting out with a big injury there. And then Milwaukee's top pitching prospect is put on the DL for 60 days. He had pitched 5 games last year and then had to have Tommy John surgery. Went to spring training and something didn't look right, and they've shut him down now. and put him on the 60-day DL. So I'm not going on. Poor. I like the Brewers, and man, that's a tough one because he was one of their top pitching prospects coming up. So man, a lot of injuries already, Vince.
Yeah, but it's a long spring. Everybody get over those injuries. And
Yeah, yeah. Golly.
anything going on in Cardinal land?
In Cardinal land. Well, the big thing is Jim. Well, uh, Nolan Arenado showed up. I wrote down Jim Edmonds for some reason. I've had him on my mind lately. But Nolan Arenado showed up, met the press. There was a picture I seen where him and Ollie hugged. I know he's there. He loves playing here in St. Louis. And he was glad to see the guys. I think when you live with your teammates for 8 months, you get pretty close to them. And the team was very happy he's back. He had a little interview with all the reporters around him at spring training, answered all the questions. He said, he knew all the talk. There was almost a trade to Houston, and he said no because he's got that no trade clause. And the future's still unknown. And I wouldn't be surprised if he plays the next 3 years with it. And it wouldn't surprise me if he gets moved next week. We'll see what happens, but he's there now. I do think the team's better with him being on the team, but I think that the way the Cardinals were going, they want to get as many of these young players in there and get them as much time as they can. So we'll see what happens. Also, that was Sunday. Monday we had our workouts, and some of the things that was noticed. I mentioned Contreras is bulked up, and let's see, Arenado has lost some weight. And as you get older, that's a good thing to do. I know it's probably not good for your power numbers, but just running bases, and he's over at third base where your reaction time is very important. So he's trimmed down. I did read a thing about FanDuel. Cardinals will televise 12 spring training games on FanDuel, and our first one is Sunday, February 23rd, noon against the Houston Astros. And Chip Carey will be doing the play-by-play, and Brad Thompson and Mark Sweeney, who has done Brad does a lot of the games, but Mark Sweeney has come in and started doing some work with the Cardinals. So that's good to see him aboard. He's a nice guy. And the only other thing I have, Vince, about the Cardinals is Miles Michaelis, who I do like, and I think he's a good guy. He's been trending downward the last 3 years, and last year he was 10-11 with a 5.35 ERA. Had 122 strikeouts and a whip of 1.28. That's not very good right there. And this is the last year on his contract. And I know the Cardinals have about 4 guys that's on their last years of their contracts, and Michaelis is one of them. He has come up with a new pitch. He's been working on it a couple of years. It's called the big slider, and it complements his curve and his cutter. And the Cardinals seem to be very happy with the progress of this pitch. It's a chase pitch. I'm glad he's working on it. Some players are on a big contract last year, getting older. They're just going through the motions, but it seems like he's just trying to get better and better. So we'll see what happens. I hope he has a good year. We sure do need him to, and he's been a big part of the team for a while now. So anyway, that's my Cardinal news. That's what's going on.
Very good. And Cub news. The thing that excited me most this week is that Ryan Sandberg showed up to camp. As we've talked about on here, he's had a relapse of cancer, and it's attacked a few of his organs. So I was very happy that he made it into camp, and that everybody just loves him. There's a good picture of him. Grace is in camp. Sutcliffe in camp. Fergie's in camp. There's a great picture of all 4 of them together. And it's kind of, you think of Fergie in those 60s era for the Cubs, 60s, early 70s, but he did, I think in 83, he went back to the Cubs. I think he got traded for half a year. And so Sandberg actually played with Jenkins.
Didn't know.
And during that time period, and also Sutcliffe came over in '84, so Sutcliffe played a lot with Sandberg, and then I think it was in 88 or 89, Grace got called up. So even though you've got um, Fergie, who's you kind of think is from a different generation,
Yeah,
there's all a connection right there that they all,
that's so cool.
Hamburg connects all of them. So yeah, it's just kind of one of those things you see as a kind of fan your heart, Jones. Okay.
Yeah.
Big news is woke up this morning to find out that instead of getting Bregman, we did sign Justin Turner for 1 year for $6 million,
All
and he's
right.
going to back up first base for Michael Bush. Bush, a left-hander, Turner, a right-hander. And although Turner's power numbers were down last year, his on-base percentage was still 354. His walks and strikeouts are identical. He's still putting the bat on the ball a lot. I think his strikeout rate's like, I don't know, it's not that high. His walk rate's like 10%. So he's not going to get the at bats. He got like 460 at bats last year. He's not going to get that many at bats with the Cubs. Um, but he is there to back up first base. And then for the infield backup spots, we got Birdie, who will do some backup. And I'm not going to be surprised if we're not done adding to this team. This was a very minor move that I really liked. Chris Flexen, the Cubs signed him to a minor league baseball contract. His ERA was about 5 last year with the White Sox, but it's with the White Sox. He was like 3-15, and it was the White Sox. It wasn't his fault. It was the White Sox. He did throw 160 innings last year with the White Sox. Um, Previous to that, he had his best years in Seattle, where he was that number 3 starter who could get you deep into a ball game. Um, so we have like Flexen, who's going to be some insurance and will probably start in the minor league in case pitching goes down. Um, oh gosh, who else did we get? Brain cramping on the guy. Got another guy that's kind of in the same boat. Hold on, I'll find it real quick.
Sure.
Uh, this is riveting. Um, Brad Keller. Yeah, that's who I was thinking. Brad Keller. We also have him on a minor league contract. So we are adding pitching depth that when we do have pitchers go down, we're going to have not got, well, let's see what this guy can do. We have some guys, okay, this guy can come up and give us 3 or 4 starts, and we can trust him to know what he's doing. He's may not throw no hitters, but he's going to get us deeper into the ball game. He knows what he's doing. So I really like that signing of Chris Flex into a minor league deal. Thursday, we have our first spring training game against the Dodgers. Excuse me. And there was a report that Suzuki over the offseason did not want to be a designated hitter. But apparently Suzuki and Craig Counsell have met and they talked about DHing, and apparently it went good. When you're getting paid millions of dollars and the team tells you're going to be a DH, okay, I'll be a DH, Um, Alexander Canario is taking some reps at first base too. So I don't know if he's going to make the team. He is on the 40 man, so possibly. And Rob Zastrinsky has been outrighted to the minors. We picked him up over the winter. He pitched for the Cubs previously. He's with the Brewers, I think it was last year, and we have outrighted him to the minors. And that's just a result of us having all this talent that we have stockpiled.
Yeah.
And hey, there's just no room for you, Rob, and we can't spell your name. We can't pronounce it. So thank you for signing with us and barely making it to camp. So, oh, you know who else has a difficult name to spell and pronounce?
Well, I'm not very good with the English language, but I think it's Jeremy Connor.
I think it's Jeremy Corner.
Is that who it is?
Oh, no. Anyway, we'll just call him Jeremy Smith.
Jeremy Smith. Mm-mm.
Comes a time in every man's life when he needs some advice on relationships. You need to listen to the podcast DMDR, which stands for Dating, Marriage, Divorce, Remarriage, from my good friend Jeremy Connor, the Dr. Phil of the Boot Hill. You can find DMDR on Spotify or whatever platform you choose to listen to your podcast. We're going to do a couple of spotlights, and I picked Lee Elea. And I'm going to have to be careful because I'm going to have to watch my language. And you will understand that when I get to it. JJ, who are you spotlighting?
Vince, I thought we were doing a movie spotlight. I thought we were doing a movie, Angels in the Outfield.
No, I said let's do a spotlight, and then next week. So,
well, I can talk about somebody off the top of my head. Hey, why don't we talk about Jason Mott?
Oh, because he's our celebrity sponsor. We cannot do him an injustice by just winging it.
Okay. Well, you go ahead, and I'll talk about. Can I talk about like the hobby side of things? I'll do that.
You can talk about anything. I know that.
Well, I've got something prepared for that. Sorry, Vince.
Bridge making in ancient Mesopotamia, and you spent 30 minutes talking about it. So
I know a guy.
We're good, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna spotlight Lee E. I'm gonna spotlight Lee Elea. He managed the Cubs in '82 and '83 to not great fanfare, and you're probably wondering why the heck am I spotlighting this guy? Well, let me get into it. Lee was born on July 16th, 1937 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So you already know he's a little combative just because everybody from Philly seems to be a little bit on edge and combative. He was born to Constantine, which is a very underrated name, and Florence Elea. His father, who went by Connie, was born in Albania and immigrated to the United States in 1920, 17 years. Later, he had Lee. Elea graduated. He graduated from Olney High School in Philadelphia, and then he went on to the University of Delaware, which, by the way, my father went to the University of Delaware when he was working on his graduate degree. Small world. Elea played most of his career through the minor league system. He was signed by his hometown team, the Phillies, in 1958 as a shortstop. And he played 11 seasons in minor league balls and in minor league ball. 9 of those 11 seasons were in AAA. Can you imagine being 9 seasons in AAA and that close that you could taste it? He was then signed by the White Sox organization in 1965, and he played out the entire 65 season in AAA. Then he began the 1966 season in AAA as well, before being finally called up to the major leagues with the White Sox. He was on the roster with the White Sox for 80 games in the 1966 season, which was when I was born. And of those 80 games when he was called up, he played in 77 of those games. He played shortstop in 75 of those games. And that season, he proved why he was a AAA player by hitting 205 with 3 home runs and 22 RBIs in the big show. So, 1968, he went to the Cubs, and he did make it into the Cubs for 15 games in the major league level to a ringing 176 average. So Elea did the scouting thing through the 70s. And then in 1980, he was hired by the Phillies to be the bench coach. Now, do you remember what happened to the Phillies in 1980?
That's when they traded Ryan Sandberg to you guys, isn't it? Is that the year they traded Sandberg? 80, they won the World Series, didn't they?
They won the World Series for the first time.
Baltimore Orioles. Yeah.
Yes. No. They beat the Royals in 80 and 83.
Yeah. Okay. That. Yeah, you're right. I remember that. Okay. Now I remember it.
So times haven't changed much. If you're a bench coach and you win a World Series, you start to become talked about as possible management material. So he returned in 81, the strike season, to Philadelphia as the bench coach. So before the 82 season, the Cubs hired Lee Elea. I automatically didn't like him
Oh, really?
because he had a commercial before spring training. He said, "Hi, I'm Lee Elea, the new manager of the Chicago Cubs. Every morning we're going to do calisthenics, and then we're going to run a mile, and then we're going to do whatever, whatever, whatever." And then he said, "And then we're going to have our breakfast." And I thought, oh gosh, that's hokey. And this isn't football, it's baseball. You want
Yeah,
to know
tight
how
ship.
for baseball for players who have a spot? You go there, you work out. If you don't have a spring game after you work out, 10 o'clock, you hit the golf course. If you have a spring game, you play the spring game for 3 innings, you get pulled out of the game, and then you go hit the golf course. Okay. Baseball is not football, it's a whole different mindset. So in 1982, at the age of 44, Elea was hired as the manager of the Chicago Cubs, and he was hired by Dallas Green, who was the manager of that 1980 team in Philadelphia. Dallas Green had become our GM. Um, that season, they brought in players such as Ryan Sandberg, Keith Moreland, and Dickie Knowles over from the Philly roster, and they finished the season with a 73-89 record and finished fifth out of six teams in the National League. Now, the next year, 1983, Elea is still the manager. Very early in the season, and there was a little bit of optimism, like there always is. But the Cubs started off 5-14 after a loss to the Dodgers. Now, Lee Elea has made himself into a folk hero in Chicago because of this tirade, which I'm going to heavily edit, that is on microphones. If you want to hear the unedited version, just go Lee Elea rant on YouTube and you can hear the whole thing. So after this loss, they're 5-14, and he goes into a tirade with just a few reporters, but there was a hot mic in there. And this is condensed because it's like a 3 or 4 minute rant. But this is kind of the best parts of the rant, and I will do it in his shouting voice. "I'll tell you one blanking thing. I hope we get blanking hotter than blank just to shut up those 3,000 blanking people that show up every blanking day. Because if they're real Chicago blanking fans, they can kiss my blanking blank right downtown and print it. They are really, really behind you around here. My blanking blank. What the blank am I supposed to do? Go out there and let my blanking players get destroyed every day and be quiet about it? For the blanking nickel dime people that show up, the mother blankers don't even work. That's why they're out here at the blanking game. They ought to get a blanking job and find out what it's like to go out and earn a blanking living. 85% of the blanking world is working, and the other 15% come out here to Wrigley Field, a blanking playground for all the blanking blankers. Rip them blanking mother blankers. Rip those country blank suckers. Like the blanking players, we've got guys busting their blanking blanks for those blanking people. Boo. And that's the Cubs, my blanking blank. They talk about the great blanking support that the players get around here, and I haven't seen it this blanking year. Believe it or not, he didn't get fired after that.
Wow.
It took until the 22nd of August for him to be fired. The Cubs were sitting at 54-69 at that time. And then he was replaced by Charlie Fox. And Charlie Fox was just there for the rest of the season. After Charlie Fox, 84, Dallas Green hired Jim Fry. Cubs win the division. We go to playoff baseball for the first time since 1945. And it was awesome. So that was Lee Elea, and the only reason why I spotlighted him is because I love the rant. And I can't do it justice. Look it up. It is hilarious.
Oh, please do.
And I'm surprised I said blanking every time. So
I thought you were going to have a little horn, little like seal horn. Oh, my God.
did.
Yeah.
I had marked it up so I knew where every curse word was, so I didn't accidentally slip. So
That's beautiful.
JJ, tell us about the life of a collector.
Oh, good things are happening. Vince, you know what? I know we make a ton of money. We're rolling in money, folks. We get all kinds of sponsors, all this. But one of my favorite things is people that watch or listen to us, they send me stuff or give me stuff. I was at work today, and when I got in, this was sitting on my desk. All these Cardinal, these are bats here, a little flag, and Cardinal things. That was on my bench. And our good friend, Candy Barks, brought me some Cardinal stuff. She said, JJ, I seen this. I thought you'd like it. So there's not almost a month doesn't go by, I get an autograph ball or a pack of cards. Somebody sends me something, and I appreciate it so much, man. As a collector, that's just a treasure. Now, Vince, I showed you the belt. A few weeks ago, we had Will Elmore on here from Card Belts, and he made a Cub belt for Vince. And I had to guess your weight size and everything. But the thing about being a bigger person is you get a bigger belt, so you get more cards on it. Well, for Brody, we got a king size one, and it's Nolan Arenado with the Cardinals. So there's Nolan. You got his little face right there where the belt goes. And look at that. Every one of these cards. Oh, yeah, there's his face right there. So Brody's going to be wearing this to opening day. There he is, sliding, playing defense. There he is. And Will, if there's any belt you want, you can send him some cards, and he will make you a belt. And these things are very nice. Oh, right there, he put the hole right where his mouth was. How about that? So anyway, do right there. There's better days for Nolan. Hope he has a great year, and I hope it's with the Cardinals. But anyway,
show the back real quick.
Huh?
The back of the belt. Show the back.
Yes, the back of the cards. There you go. So you get some statistics on there and everything. Oh, that's the back of that card right there. Okay, you got a picture one. So cool. There's all kinds of different things on there, and it's just a very unique item. And I tell you what, for a birthday or Christmas, for your baseball fans who have everything, it's a pretty cool gift. And I'm so excited. So Brody's going to be wearing that to the opening day against the Twins, and I like that. And Vince, I had one person reach out to me, and when they saw Jason Mott on the front, and then they saw the autograph picture, and I showed some cards, he goes, well, I wish I would have known about it. I went, aha, you haven't been listening to the podcast, have you? Because I talk about it all the time. So if you watch, you'll find out. So this month, there's a lot of chances for card shows and get things signed. And I'm just going to go over a few of these for the month that's coming up. March 2nd, Orlando Gardens up past South County on 55. It's kind of on a little side road. They are having a show March 2nd, and here it's a great card show. A lot of memorabilia, a lot of neat things. You can get holders for your autograph balls or things for your cards. But there's 4 players going to be there, and this is going to be pretty good. It's Met heavy, evidently March 2nd. Howard Johnson, King of the Court bats. I like Howard Johnson. Got a couple cards.
Played for the Cubs.
I didn't know Howard played for the Cubs.
Towards the end of his career, played for the Cubs.
I'll be darned. Howard Johnson, shortstop of the Mets. I don't know if he was a Cub. Rafael Santana. You remember Rafael, early 80s?
I remember him, but he was never a Cub.
Never a Cub. All right. This next guy played for a lot of teams, and Cardinals was one of the teams. Catcher, first baseman Mike Heath will be there.
Yes.
And the big get. I can't believe this guy's coming up. I will definitely get a ball signed by him. Dr. K, Dwight Gooden.
Ooh.
Doc Gooden. I mean, man, for his first 3 or 4 years, it was one of the greatest beginnings of a career right there. What a pitcher. I still think John Tudor should have got the Cy Young his first year. I thought Tudor should have got it, but that's neither here nor there. Dwight Gooden got it, and so congratulations on that. So that's March 2nd, Orlando Gardens. But if that's not enough, March 8th, down in Caledonia, Missouri, at a boys' dream hobby shop. And Brad Juliet does a great job here. There will not be a card show that week. They're going to bring that back in April for a big card show. But next month, March 8th, and Jim Edmonds will be there. So I saw Brad Saturday, and I said, hey, Brad, is Jim Edmonds still coming? Because, he's not announcing for the Cardinals anymore. And he said, yeah, he's still coming. And I said, okay, well, I'll announce that. So Jim Edmonds, March 8th. but he was smiling, and I was like, what's going on? And evidently, if you're going to go, you better get there early, because they have already had tons of people sending stuff and ordering stuff. So it sounds like Jim Edmonds will probably be signing for at least an hour before it opens to the public, for things that have been sent in. So this is going to be this is their biggest one they've gotten. I don't remember Jim Edmonds in the last few years signing at any shows or anything. So this is kind of a big deal. If you're going to get Jim Edmonds, now's the time to do it, because I don't know when he's going to do it again. So that's pretty cool. And then there's a hobby shop up in Chesterfield, St. Louis Sports Company. And on the 13th of March, they're having a private signing. So what that means is you go in. I don't like private signings because I like to meet the player, get a picture, or at least have a little experience. But Yadier Molina will be signing, and you have to get your stuff in by March 13th. And then March 17th, Yadi will sign your stuff and they'll send it to you. So anybody who's interested in that, Yadier Molina, hey, that's pretty darn cool. But let me tell you this, the bigger the player, especially, it's the higher the price it is to get anything signed. So the Yadier Molina one is, you're going to spend a pretty penny. And I have to say this, it's out of my price range. I would love to go up there, but no, can't do it. It's just too expensive for my blood. So that's some of the things going on. And Vince, I know we're almost to baseball card time, but another sign of spring, the Topps 2025 hobby box. I got me one. So the 2025 cards, we'll reveal them here today, what they look like and everything. And just to show you a few cards, this is the Jim Edmonds card I'm going to get signed. I went through my collection. I found a good one. I thought, yeah, that's the card I want to get signed. Pretty darn cool. And here's a little hint of what the 2025s look like. Here is Yamamoto's first card right there in the Evil Empire, Future Star Yamamoto. And then this is they have like stars of each team, and Chicago Cub himself. There he is, one of your pitchers right there, who I think's fantastic, and he had a great year last year for you guys. Would you say the last name for me, Vince? I can't say his name.
Imanaga.
Imanaga. All right, Imanaga. And I think that's all I have to say about the hobby stuff. That's what's going on.
Let me ask you a little bit about this, about the hobby. If you go to a show like to Orlando Gardens,
Yeah.
if you're a person like me who is not going to spend a ton of money because you're a cheapskate, is there stuff reasonably that you would interest people?
Yes, cards are now graded, which I think I like and I don't like. But when you're getting like a great player rookie card that's a 10 out of 10, it's going to be very expensive. But you can get things that are decent that maybe it's not a 10 out of 10 if you're into the card things. But I like to go because there's bobbleheads, there's programs, there's pictures, there's patches. There's one friend, Phil Brooks, has been on here, who has the Cardinals. I have to say, are one of the best teams at giveaways to get fans to come to the stadium, with hats and purses and just jerseys and T-shirts, just so many things. And anything that they have a giveaway at, Phil has can get his hands on it, and he'll get it for you. And he's got a table there too. So it's just really cool. One of the greatest. Now, you say reasonably priced things. Mike Heath, I think it's $9 to get a card signed. So at the front desk, you can say, yeah, I want 3 cards. And you can go online and see how much the prices are. And now they're having photo opportunities, which they've just started doing because, Vince, in 2 months, I'm excited. Jim Cott's coming, and I'm going to pay for a photo opportunity. Jim Cott, I love Jim Cott. And so anyway, you can kind of get your money situated and everything. There's a guy that our friend Tony Pruno deals with, and it's vintage cards, like the 50s, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. I'm working on my 1975 set. So a card from 75, an average card's 50 cents. And, it's like you might get a Ron Hunt backup catcher, 50 cents, and a Cesar Cedeno for $3, and slowly but surely can piece together your set and everything like that. So there's one of the greatest things I've seen, but Tony La Russa had a benefit, pause, I think it is something to do with helping take care of animals. He's big into dogs and cats and stuff. He used to have on the side of the dugout the starting. He wrote it in the lineups, and then the bench, and who was available in the bullpen. So when he had this benefit, he had the players autograph that on the side, so you could get Yachty and Albert, the Lionel Shields, Bueno, Berkman, Carlos Beltran. Their autographs on there. Now these are pretty high dollar items, but that's pretty cool. And what they did, they got a hit or whatever. It's all on there. It's like a giant scorecard. That's pretty darn cool. One day maybe I'll get me one of those, but it's just neat, and you get to talk to people. I meet people all the time. I might have a Toronto Blue Jay hat on up there, and I was like, "Oh, you like the Blue Jays? I got something to show you, man." And we talk so much stuff. People sign shoes and batting helmets and little gold gloves, and a lot of, like, Vince is a Cub fan, a lot of Cub stuff there. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool, man.
Very nice.
That's very nice.
Well, I do have the 1990 edition collector's choice in the foil package.
Ooh, very nice. Those are some nice ones. And on the 2025s it's Aaron Judge is the poster child for the 2025 Topps cards.
Well, I'll go ahead and go first so we can unveil the new cards kind of as a climax thing.
Woohoo! Yeah. No smoke a cigarette.
Build the show. Not that kind of climax. We built the show climax at the end. I guess I better stop using that word around you because you're such a juvenile.
I am. I'm a 12-year-old at heart.
All right. I'm going to say one Hall of Famer.
Ooh, 3. I'm going 3.
Yeah, these are beautiful cards. I like these.
I do too.
And first we have a former outfielder for the Astros, Kevin Bass.
Oh yeah, look at
Nice
that. I like the action picture.
They have a good picture. So
yeah.
Always like this set. Here's a gentleman who should have gotten more Hall of Fame support than he did. He actually played for the Cardinals for a while. Former Expo, former Rocky, Andreas Galarraga.
Oh yeah.
And
man.
I've been a little vocal. I do not like Kevin Slayton, and I will tell everybody what started that. Back in the early 90s, there was an interview that Galarraga was given. This is before he was with the Cardinals, and he was speaking in broken English, of course, because he's not from the United States. So after the interview clip, Kevin Slayton just started making fun of him. I can't understand what he's saying. Blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, what a jackass you are, and punching guys in the parking lot and all that other crap that you've done. But, geez, so.
Yeah.
So, Kevin Slayton, you got on my nerves.
You got him so worked up. Kevin
35 years ago, yakking on Andres Galarraga. Sorry. Former Tiger pitcher Mark Henneman.
Oh yeah, from Festus.
That's right.
Yeah, St. Charles, he'll say, but he's played at Festus and Jefferson College.
I gotta start collecting the part. I gotta go through and collect the Mike Henneman cards. I'm gonna put something together for him, find out where he is, and just like, hey, dude, we love you on one card, one cup.
Yeah, come on.
Excuse me. Former Cub Les Lancaster.
I remember him.
Great season in '89.
Like those jerseys.
Oh, this guy, if he could have stayed on top of his game, he could have been a Hall of Famer with those other 3 guys out of Atlanta. The left-hander, Steve Avery.
I know, he started. And it's a rookie card. This rookie card right there with that rookie emblem. Yep. Very nice.
There's a Twins checklist card that is stuck to another card. So there it is. Kirby
Kirby
Puckett.
Puckett. Yeah.
There's the checklist.
God, he was so good. That's a Hall of
Uh,
Famer. One Hall of Famer. Kirby. Yeah. All
and
right. It's a checklist. Yeah.
well, we might count it if I need it. Former Red Sox, former Angel, former Oakland A. Nice power. Good. Good center fielder, Dave Henderson.
Yes. Always a good piece of the puzzle. Always on good teams.
Oh, former Expo and former Red Sox, Spike Owen.
Oh, yeah. I love that name. Spike. Spike Huber. Dick the Bruiser's son-in-law.
Yeah, that guy's still around. Not Dick the Bruiser, but Spike.
Yeah, Spike's. I heard things. He shows up places.
And I got the Milwaukee Brewers
Oh yeah.
hologram. I
Oh,
think
I love that emblem.
that's boyfriend.
Yeah,
That's pretty
there
cool.
it is. Yeah.
Um, former Giant, Candy Maldonado.
All
I
right.
love that name. Ooh, former Cub pitcher. I think he also was a pitching coach for the Cardinals at one time. But his son played tight end for the Rams. Mike Harkey. Now was he the pitching coach for the Cardinals?
I don't remember that. I don't. I don't think so.
He's pitching coach for somebody, but anyway, he had a
But
decent career.
you said he had a family member that was a tight end for somebody or played in
Yeah,
football.
yeah. When the Rams were in St. Louis, his son was like the backup tight end, Harkey.
Really? How about that? Small
Yeah.
world.
We had this guy a few weeks ago. Former governor of California, Jerry Brown, is back again.
Jerry Brown. And Little Ronstadt is surely close by.
Oh yeah. Oh, oh, the guy with from the Red Sox and the Yankees who once told George Steinbrenner during a team meeting what he thought of him, and George Steinbrenner looked at him and said, "Listen, I'm keeping the lights on around here. Shut up and play." Rick Cerrone.
I did not know that. Man, I
Oh
learned a
yeah.
lot today. Rick Cerrone.
Uh, former Red Sox, former Angel, Bob Stanley, good pitcher.
Good pitcher. Yeah, veteran.
And I got two more cards here. Um, from the Braves, Jeff Weatherby.
I like the card. I don't know the player.
Yeah, I don't know whether he be a player in the majors or not. So
Yeah. Ah, I see what you did.
no Hall of Famer, so I'm going to take the Kirby bucket.
Take the Kirby.
But this last player, the mad dash to home against the team he had came from,
Sid Bream?
former first, huh?
Sid Bream?
Sid Bream.
Yeah, there he is defensively. All right, Sid.
So that's my cards.
It was painful watching him run around them bases, I tell you.
So slow. So
Yeah.
slow.
Bless his heart. All right. Well, oh, by the way, in these 2025 cards, there are autographs. And, I haven't come across any. I've never bought a pack of these and come across an autograph, but there is Yamamoto's got some autograph cards scattered in all these packs. Barry Bonds, who hasn't signed any cards for any of the companies in 10 years, has signed some cards. So the Barry Bonds cards, even if you don't like him, those are some valuable cards. And there's one that everyone's chasing. And I don't know if it's just one or several sprinkled in there. For some reason, Larry David of the Seinfeld show has a card autograph in the set. Now, Larry did talk about he, as a kid, wanted to play baseball, and he mentioned the Yankees a lot in the Seinfeld show, and I believe goes to Yankee games, but there is a Larry David card autographed in the set. So, just saying, one day we're going to have one Cardinal, one Cub, one beer card in there, maybe one day.
I'm sure we are.
All right. Oh, right out of the gate. Mason Wynn rookie card right there.
Ooh,
Now,
wow.
what I'm going to say about these cards is they don't have the position anymore. right here you can see the diamond, and there's a dot for where the player plays. If it's a
Ah,
pitcher, it's a dot on the mound, and if it's a DH, it's outside the foul line is where the dot goes. You've got this swirl right here. Well, I'm right there. You got that swirl with the team's name on it, and then the player's name on a bar across the bottom. And of course, rookies always have that the top like the all rookie team have that little trophy there. They've had that since I can remember the
yeah.
rookie. So that Mason Woods nice. Here is the back of the card. Kind of gives you an idea what the cards look like. I have noticed one thing. When I was a kid, until recently, it had your baseball stat, your at bats, your hits, your RBIs, your doubles, triples, home runs, runs scored. For hitters, walks and strikeouts. They don't include how many times the guy strikes out anymore. I guess they just want to be positive. I like to add, like I see the walks versus the strikeouts. I always like that, but no longer is the strikeout on the back of the batter's cards. All right, here's San Francisco outfielder Grant McCray, and I do not know Grant McCray, but he's very relaxed, blowing a bubble when he's batting. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's pretty relaxed. Things have changed. Tell you what, Lee Elea wouldn't put up with that.
No.
All right. Oh, Chicago White Sox, Andrew Benintendi.
There you go.
I'm a fan of, and Benintendi was a Arkansas Razorback in college.
I did not know that.
He's played around on several teams and had a nice career. Let's see. Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies, who's a pitcher. And I think the MLB has a thing for these alternative uniforms because a lot of the cards now have the alternative uniforms on it. I think they're really kind of pushing that. So you'll see that in the baseball cards. Oh, one of the all-time greats, Vince. This guy, he's not a Hall of Famer yet, but one day we can count him as one, Mr. Clayton Kershaw.
Oh, yeah. First
And I tell you
ballot.
what, yeah, oh my gosh, one of the all-time greats. The Cardinals have been pretty successful in the playoffs against him, but he's beat us a lot. But when these older players, when you look at the back of the cards, I need a magnifying glass to look at the stat to break them up. So that's pretty impressive. He's back for an 18th season with the Dodgers. Brandon Baddock of Arizona.
Bot. Yeah.
Bot. Okay, there you go. And I tell you what, Arizona, they've got themselves. They got Corbin Burns over there. That team, look out. Zach Denzio of Houston. There he is, right there in the box, getting ready to swing. Oh, we got a Cub. There has been a Cub alert. Danby Swanson. There he is. And that Cub uniform is classic right there. I'm a fan of the blue jerseys, but those are just the classics right there.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. Oh, the guy with tendonitis in both elbows, Giancarlo Stanton, right there, the Yankees. Kyle Harrison, there's 14 cards total. And this one, it's a future star, and you catch the ball right in mid-flight right there. So that's a pretty cool card. But yeah, photography has come so far. We got just a few more. O'Neal Cruz. And of course, when you got O'Neal Cruz, you got to have him running the bases. Look at that guy flying. And I think there's talk of Cruz going to the outfield now.
Yeah.
Because he makes a lot of errors. So whatever's best for the team. Okay, this is a rookie card. Atlanta Braves, Hurston Waldrer. I don't know this guy, but Atlanta Brave pitcher. And they come up with some good pitchers, so look out.
Yeah.
Don't be on your radar. All right, now these last two cards are unique. One is the star card. It doesn't say that on here. It says, stars of MLB. And this one is, we mentioned him tonight, Anaheim Angel, Mike Trout. Classic Mike Trout right there. I like that. It's shiny. That's a nice card. And they have went back to the 1990 cards and featured some of the all-time greats. And this is a 1990, 35 years ago, Ichiro with the Mariners.
Oh, wow.
Hall of Famer. So this one got one Hall of Fame. They're in there. And some future ones. So that's it, Vince. I like to look at these cards. I tell you what, I probably wouldn't buy as many new cards if we weren't doing this podcast. But I do like that. I'm going to chase that Larry David card and a Yamamoto and a Bonds and see if I can come up with one of them.
Very cool.
All
Well,
right.
JJ, do you have a busy week coming up?
Let's see. I want to make a trip to Arkansas. We've been so sick. We're both getting over getting sick. We've had family down there sick. I haven't seen my mom for Christmas yet. We got gifts. She's got gifts. So I'm going to try to make it to Arkansas one weekend, but this weekend with that snow, I don't see it happening. So I'll
Yeah.
probably watch the Cardinals play Sunday and try to catch a few Cub games if I can, this weekend, and then report back next week.
Nice. Yeah, we don't have much going on. I think it's going to be a little relaxed with the bad weather, hunkering down. Um, so I did Saturday have my grandson for the day, and I hadn't seen him since Christmas because he was going to come over spend the night, and that's when we got bronchitis, so that didn't work. And
Oh yeah.
they've had sickness too, so it was pretty cool. Got to hang out with Dominic on Saturday, and we went to the Overstock store in Festus, and
Oh.
Dominic found a little garbage truck that he liked that talked. So
All right.
we got a
Very
little garbage
cool.
truck. Very cool. So, all right. Well, JJ, you have a good one. And we will see everybody next week. And we will have some spring training games to talk about. We
Ooh.
won't go in depth, but we'll just say, hey, yeah, spring training started. Hey, my knuckles got white. I was so happy. All right. Take it easy.
Take care.